You've got to be kidding me. That was the immediate reaction, pretty blunt, from a former president when shown a photo that just popped up.
Yeah, quite a reaction.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating, maybe a bit uncomfortable. These brand new photos and even some video footage, they're shedding some serious new light on the history between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein.
It's definitely causing a stir.
Right. So for this deep dive, our mission really is to cut through all the noise. We want to give you a solid understanding of what exactly has come out and, why it's actually important.
Mm-hmm.
We'll unpack these visuals, look at the whole history of their relationship as we know it, check out how Trump and his team are reacting, and analyze the politics of it all, especially with the Epstein file stuff still bubbling up.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
We're pulling from a bunch of different reports, exclusive stuff too, just to give you the full picture so you can feel really well informed.
Good.
For years, people have argued about the Trump-Epstein connection, right? Often played down.
Definitely minimized, yeah.
But these new images, they kind of force you to take another look. It pulls back the curtain on something maybe deeper than people thought. So what are these new visuals? Why now? Why the big splash?
Well, let's start with that wedding photo.
Okay, yeah. So first up, this picture from December 20th, 1993. It shows Jeffrey Epstein right there at Donald Trump's wedding to Marla Maples at the Plaza Hotel in New York.
The wedding of the century, as they called it.
Exactly. And the thing is, Epstein being there, that wasn't really common knowledge, not widely reported at all before this.
Right. It suggests more than just, bumping into each other at parties. It points to a certain social integration, maybe even friendship.
Yeah, you can actually see Epstein walking into the plaza, and there's another shot where he's in the background near Howard Stern and Robin Leach, almost like he's photobombing them.
Huh. Interesting detail.
The photographer, Daffa Jones, he remembered seeing Epstein there, said he wished he'd took more of him with Trump. And this image, it comes from a contact sheet, the print of all the photos from a film roll. The original negatives are apparently lost, so it's quite rare.
That makes it even more significant finding it now.
Then, just a couple of months before that wedding photo, October 1993, there's another one.
Okay.
This shows Trump with two of his kids, Ivanka, who was almost 12. You can see her right between Trump and Epstein. And they're talking to Epstein at the opening of the Harley-Davidson Cafe in New York.
So more public interaction even earlier?
Exactly. More evidence they were socializing publicly before the wedding.
Got it.
And then jump forward 6 years to 1999. We've got actual raw video footage.
Video, right. What does that show?
It shows Trump and Epstein kind of huddled together, laughing and chatting. They're sitting together just before the models come out at a Victoria's Secret fashion show in New York.
Melania Trump was there too.
Yeah, she was there, seated just a few feet away. So this video gives us a clear look at them interacting in a relaxed, friendly way at a pretty high-profile event.
And that's important because the only other known video of them together was, 7 years before that?
Right, so this 1999 video adds another layer.
What's really fascinating here, I think, is how these images give us concrete visual proof stuff we hadn't seen of a social link that, like you said, has often been downplayed.
Mm-hmm.
And this raises a key question. Okay, fine, these specific pictures in the video were taken before Epstein's legal troubles really hit the news, around 2005, 2008. But what does the timing of these interactions actually imply about their relationship overall, looking back now?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. And it's important, as you said, to keep in mind the timing these specific visuals predate the public accusations of sex abuse and trafficking.
Absolutely. But what they do show, definitively, is that social connection, right? Being at a wedding, chatting at events. It makes it harder to swear with the idea he was just some guy Trump knew casually.
Exactly. It changes the baseline understanding of their relationship, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It makes later denials feel a bit strained.
For sure. So these photos paint a picture of their public life together, but they're just part of a longer story. Let's dig into what we already knew, the documented history.
Okay.
Their association apparently started way back in the 80s. Lots of sightings at parties, Palm Beach, New York, that kind of thing.
Right, the social circuit.
We even have a letter from Epstein, June 92, mentioning Marla Maples and thanking Trump for letting him use Mar-a-Lago. That suggests pretty early personal access, doesn't it?
It certainly implies a level of comfort and access, yeah.
Yeah.
Not just casual.
And then there are the public statements, the documented stuff. That 2002 New York Magazine profile, where Trump called Epstein a terrific guy.
Oh, yeah, I remember that quote.
And added that Epstein likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Pretty direct.
Very direct and telling in retrospect.
And it wasn't just talk. Trump's name shows up, what, 7 times at least in Epstein's flight logs? Yeah. Flying together between Palm Beach and New York.
Documented travel.
Plus, in Trump's own book from 2004, How to Get Rich, he mentions the mysterious Jeffrey, saying he's one of the few people I know who can get by on just a first name.
Acknowledging a certain notoriety or status.
And then there's that alleged birthday message from 2003, reported by the Wall Street Journal. For Epstein's 50th, supposedly had an outline of a naked woman.
No.
And said, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret."
Right, though Trump strongly denies sending that, correct? He's suing over it.
He is, yeah. Denies it completely and is suing the Journal. So that part's contested.
Okay.
But what's also really intriguing is how Epstein apparently talked about Trump. Michael Wolff reviewed some tapes.
Right, the Wolf tapes.
Epstein apparently called Trump brilliant at real estate, charming, delightful, but then also called him a horrible human being.
Wow, talk about contradictory.
And even claimed Trump tried to hit on his friends' wives. So a real mixed bag from Epstein's side, it seems.
Yeah, quite the characterization. If we try to, connect all these dots, the private access, the public praise, the flights, even these conflicting descriptions, it paints a picture of a relationship that was, well, sustained over time and definitely complex. So the defense that, these new photos are from before the legal stuff, while technically true for those specific moments in 93 or 99, it starts to feel like a pretty narrow argument when you stack it against everything else, the whole timeline.
Right, the bigger picture.
Exactly. So the question becomes, what do all these different kinds of interactions really tell us about the social world they moved in together? And what was the real nature of their connection? Was it really just casual? These visuals make that harder to believe.
That's a really good point. It suggests this sustained connection, not just, a brief overlap, which makes Trump's claims about cutting ties, well, more complicated. He maintains he cut ties long before Epstein's legal issues surfaced.
That's the official line, yeah.
The story is they had a falling out mid-2000s, supposedly over a property dispute. And the White House line has been that Trump kicked him out of his club for being a creep.
Right, different reasons given there.
But here's where it gets really interesting, right? There's a bit of a timing issue. The mid-2000s timeframe for this falling out. Well, that's basically right when or just before Epstein's first big public legal problems started hitting, around 2006, 2008.
Exactly. The timing is very close.
So it kind of suggests the split might have been reactive, maybe seeing the trouble coming rather than some proactive moral stand taken way earlier. How do we square these different stories for the split?
That's a key tension, isn't it? You have the public statements emphasizing this decisive break, often framed as being long before the legal storm, a moral distancing.
Yeah.
But then you look at the calendar, the documented timeline leading up to those mid-2000s charges, and it suggests a split happening right around then. It feels more reactive, possibly prompted by the heat turning up on Epstein.
So less about being a creep proactively, more about impending legal disaster, maybe.
Well, it raises the question, it's not just when they split, but why they split. And that really changes how you perceive the whole relationship, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So with all this laid out, how did Trump and his team actually react when these new photos and the video surfaced?
Predictably strong denials, it seems.
Yeah, when CNN first asked him about the wedding photo, he apparently said, "You've got to be kidding me." Then just repeatedly called CNN fake news and hung up.
Deflect an attack.
Later on social media, he went further, called the whole Epstein thing a Democrat con job, compared it to the Russia hoax.
Standard playbook, perhaps.
He also claimed that Pam Bondi, the attorney general, had told him his name came up multiple times in the unsealed Epstein documents, but that officials decided there was nothing to investigate further.
And has that claim been verified?
The BBC retorted they couldn't independently verify it, so that's his claim. And the official line from the White House comms director, Stephen Chung, he basically said the visuals are just out-of-context screen grabs from big events used to disgustingly infer something nefarious.
Minimizing the visuals themselves.
Right. And Chung repeated the line that the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep, calling the reports just more fake news from Democrats and the media.
Consistent messaging there.
But this has definitely caused some political waves, right? Even before this, the Justice Department holding back some Epstein documents, that had already caused a backlash, even within Trump's own MAGA movement.
Yeah, some influencers were calling it a cover-up, demanding resignations. There was friction already.
So these new photos, they just adds significant fuel to that fire. We're now seeing demands for transparency from both sides of the aisle. Democrats, sure, but also more Republicans are saying, release the files.
Interesting. Pressure building internally, too.
Yeah, Republican members of Congress are apparently hearing it from their constituents. People want more information. They expect transparency. Makes it tough for those reps to talk about tax cuts when people are asking about Epstein.
That's significant political pressure, grassroots level.
And we're seeing some action, or attempted action. House Oversight Chair James Comer says he's going to subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell for a deposition in prison, release the transcript.
Maxwell, okay. That would see something.
But on the other hand, House Speaker Mike Johnson called an early August recess, which effectively stopped Democrats from trying to force votes on releasing investigation files. The House Rules Committee was apparently completely stymied by it.
So procedural moves to block transparency efforts as well. A real push and pull.
Definitely.
This brings up a really crucial point, though. Why does this issue, the Epstein connection, resonate so strongly? Especially, as you mentioned, within the Manji base.
Yeah, what's the thinking there?
Well, one perspective is that for many in that movement, the Epstein case is like the ultimate symbol of corrupt global elites. That's sort of a core part of the worldview.
Okay, I see.
So when information comes out that seems to implicate Trump, or when his administration appears to be blocking information about it, it creates this profound cognitive dissonance, a real clash.
It's because he's supposed to be fighting the elites, not associated with them.
Exactly. It suggests that loyalty to Trump, while obviously very high, might not be totally unconditional, especially when it touches on issues seen as deep moral failings or a lack of transparency. It hits a nerve.
Mm-hmm.
And as Sarah Lewis pointed out, it also perfectly shows that closed loop of conspiracy theories, where any information or even the lack of information can be twisted to feed the narrative. Something's being hidden.
Right. The cover-up narrative feeds itself.
Precisely. Which is fascinating because Trump himself, built a lot of his political identity on conspiracy theories and distrusting institutions. It's like the Frankenstein's monster is now chasing its creator, in a way.
Wow, that's a powerful way to put it. The distrust he fostered now being turned on him regarding this issue.
It's a complex dynamic.
It really is. Makes you wonder how much control anyone really has once these narratives get going. So where does this all head next? Is this story going away, or is it just going to keep going?
Doesn't seem to be fading quickly.
Well, the Justice Department first said no to unsealing grand jury material, the secret testimony and evidence.
Right. Grand jury secrecy is usually pretty strict.
But now a federal judge has stepped in, gave the DOJ a 1-week deadline to explain why that testimony should stay sealed. That's definitely mounting pressure for transparency.
A judicial push. That's significant.
And the DOJ has apparently reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former associate, about potentially releasing some of this sealed stuff. They want to meet with her.
Wonder what her position is.
Well, interestingly, her lawyer told CNN something like, Ghislaine will always testify truthfully. We are grateful to President Trump for his commitment to uncovering the truth in this case.
That's quite a statement. Grateful to Trump. Aligning with him on truth. Very intriguing.
Yeah, definitely raised eyebrows. And the political pressure isn't letting up either. There's talk of a discharge petition in the House.
The procedural move to force a vote.
Exactly. If enough members sign it, they could force a vote on releasing the Epstein files, even if leadership tries to block it. So this whole saga could easily stretch into the fall.
It keeps the issue alive, politically.
It's just fascinating, isn't it? The more Trump seems to push people to move on, the more the story just sticks around, stays in the headlines.
It really highlights this complex fight across different branches of government even, over controlling information and who's held accountable.
Yeah.
Despite all the denials, the legal pushback, you've got this growing pile of evidence, the photos, the video, plus the old stuff like flight logs, past quotes.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes it harder and harder for Trump to fully create distance from Epstein in the public eye.
The cumulative weight.
Exactly. And it raises this bigger question, I think. What does this whole struggle over information, the demands for transparency versus the efforts to keep things sealed, tell us about the current state of trust in our institutions? Some analysts argue that lack of trust is a big reason why these kinds of issues just persist and fester.
That's a deep point. It really taps into that broader battle for truth, for accountability, in an age where trust feels pretty low across the board. This persistence, like you said, even when people try to shut it down, it feels like a real feature of our current moment, doesn't it?
It does. Information, or the perception of hidden information, has immense power.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. As we finish this deep dive into these new visuals, the history, the fallout, what are the main things that really stand out?
Well, the visuals are key.
Yeah, what's crystal clear is that these new photos and the video, they give us definite proof, stuff we hadn't seen, of a social relationship between Trump and Epstein that seems deeper, more personal, and certainly less public than how it was often portrayed before.
Undeniable visual evidence of proximity and interaction.
And Trump's reaction. Consistent, strong denials. Trying to frame it all as fake news, a Democrat con job, really trying to control that
The
narrative.
standard defense strategy? Perhaps amplified.
And all of this is happening against this backdrop of huge political and legal fights over getting Epstein-related documents released. It's causing friction even within the Mag-Yay movement and just highlights this bigger systemic struggle over who controls information.
Yeah, the transparency battle is central.
So as we think about all this, it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Not just about their past connection, but about the power of information itself. We're hiding it to shape how we see things, to shape political futures. And maybe the provocative thought for you, the listener, is this. What does this ongoing public fascination with the Epstein case, which just gets reignited with every new piece of evidence, what does it truly reveal about our collective hunger for accountability? Especially accountability from powerful figures, even years after the events themselves.
Desire for truth, perhaps, no matter how delayed.
Something to definitely think about.